This week we're working on a few quick updates to my Axial SCX24 that I've been building with this blazer body and a camper. I only have a few more things to do before we jump into that interior or tent style of the camper, the pop-up. So today we're going to cover those. First up, it seems that I burnt out the stock motor. This truck's a bit heavier than it was stock, and I was mainly full throttle the whole time in that thick grass, so burnt that up. I picked up a new motor. This is a 50 turn where the original is a 88 turn, so I'm hoping to have a little more speed. I know crawling wise we want torque, but for scale factor I think we'll have enough torque and we'll have a little bit more speed out of this thing. I shouldn't have to sit there mashing the throttle the whole time to get it to move. That was a bit more of an adventure than I originally anticipated. Between the motor screw being under the spur gear, the motor hitting the ESC, had to swap all of that stuff around. I was able to mount my ESC up front and the battery in the rear, which should actually get the weight a little lower. I'm a little concerned about the leads for my lights, but if those don't reach, I'll just lengthen them a little bit and they'll plug right into the ESC again. On to the next thing. The body, as well as the camper, has tail lights now, but they need lenses because I don't like seeing the LED like that. So I did my best to create some very tiny taillight lens, and I painted them with some transparent red paint to hopefully just give it a little bit of tint. And we're going to install these with some shoe glue just like I did with the windows on the body itself. I completely forgot you guys hadn't even seen those lights yet. I went ahead and wired up some headlights and tail lights into the blazer body as well as the camper. They plug right in on the ESC where those original lights that came with the SCX24 plugged in. I'll likely have to make those leads for the tail lights a little longer. It doesn't look like it'll fit, but I'm just gonna plug them up like this for now just so you guys can see how they work. I have one plug there, and then I have an extension here that the camper plugs into. And then with the battery installed, we can flip the switch and we have tail lights on the body as well as the camper. And like I mentioned, we also have some headlights as well. That's it for lights today. I'll have to lengthen up those leads in the body itself. The next and final thing that I want to cover in this video is bumpers. I had mentioned that I made some bumpers for this truck and was working on those, needed to get those painted, and still working on them. I think I have a change of plans though. These are the bumpers that I made. I used aluminum round stock rod, 1/8 inch diameter, bent and put them together. I wanted to solder them together, but my soldering skills wasn't that great. Brazing as well didn't work out so well. So I ended up using a 2-part aluminum epoxy. It's used for like marine stuff, boat motors, that kind of stuff. And it held up pretty well. I had one little mount chip off here, but that's no issue because I don't think I want to mount these how I had originally planned. You can see I have these tabs coming up. Originally, the bumper was going to sit on the inside like this and just glue or screw to the inside of the body. and we'd have a bumper, and that looks great. My issue is the body's already heavy enough. You could see in that running footage in the last video how it kind of bounces around. I'd rather add weight to the chassis instead of the body. For the camper, this is gonna work just fine because I can't really add weight to the chassis on the camper. It'll just be to the camper itself. So this will stay the same, but for the truck itself, I wanna make some new mounts for the bumpers. Well guys, I tried a bunch of different things to try to get those bumpers mounted, but I couldn't come up with anything that I really liked. Like I mentioned, I wanted to mount them to the chassis, and the way my chassis is, because I cut it in the past in the front, I don't really see a way to do that. I would have to have some super long mounts, which I could make, but I don't have aluminum to do that, so I may have to look into making that out of something else. If you have any suggestions for that, make sure to drop them down in the comments below. So instead, I went ahead and cleaned up all those wires, lengthened the ones that I needed, those leads for the tail lights, as well as the battery wire to be able to get everything powered up. You can see I got my headlights working now, as well as the tail lights. You can see them shining back there a little bit. This is actually the first time I'm gonna test this motor out in this thing, so you'll see along with me how it goes. It's definitely got a little pep, even on the lowest setting on the stock Axial radio. So yeah, that definitely has some pep. Should do well tugging this body around along with the camper. Make sure to drop a like if you enjoy the video, if you're liking how the truck's looking with the new tail lights on. And subscribe if you want to see more from this little thing. I had an awesome time building it, but we're not quite done just yet. Got a little bit more to go, and I'm excited to show you all how it turns out. Hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks again for watching. Peace.